they eliminate both, and that does leave them open to first pick that Ryze for Cryin, which is great for him. So I feel like they're in a pretty comfortable spot on the back of that with that first pick. WE potentially going to look towards that Corki once again. Was problematic, will scale exceptionally, but a lot more pressure here for Ultra Prime in the early game. See the Aphelios for stay. Obviously something that can shred through the Ryze quite effectively, and I think that just leaves Jinx for Elk. And this is a lot better for Ultra Prime already, right? They have the Roman mid for Cryin. They have a great carry who has a lot of long range for Elk that they can play for. Probably just going to go for either support or jungle here, but instead go for the Kennen in the top lane.
That is going to be to Aliez, who has a little bit of a track record himself on the pick here in the LPL. His game played, at least, was on that Kennen. Will appreciate the fact that ShiauC is being forced onto Corki. I feel like that's now the admission card to the LPL. You have to be able to play a ton of Corki, get those package timings down or something along those lines. Won't have the double rocket composition this time, but I feel like the Aphelios still fits the team fight nature that they want to go for. They're going to need a response to the massive team fight implications that the Kennen brings to the table for Ultra Prime. Their answer, the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, so Xin Zhao really strong early pressure, and also the ult just annoying for the Jinx to deal with. Hard to get resets when you can't really damage them for 5 seconds. Now, looking to ban away some supports. Remember, WE, they get first choice after this rotation, so even if they do start to ban these away, they still get priority on those. I could see them throw a ban towards the junglers as well, as they've secured theirs. For Ultra Prime, I feel like honestly, you can look at the top lane. The Gnar was something that was hovered by WE. Maybe they want to get rid of that. Potentially, there could be concerns about some of the other picks that can deal with the Kennen effectively. But all in all, I feel like WE in a pretty decent spot. Happy with what they have so far.
Can I just say that your big brain just blows my mind. You're like, it's crazy how many of these draft picks you're getting right. Like the bans, the picks. I'm just happy to have you alongside this smooth brain play-by-play over here to kind of lead me in the right direction. As Leona was that follow-up ban by Team WE. More solo lane focus, I would have to think, for Ultra Prime here themselves, but could also see them take away their some engaged supports themselves, which are Kedaya's may say they go for the Lulu. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, so they know Kedaya will play the Lulu, and they also know with those two engaged supports banned away, there's not too much pressure you could apply, especially since WE could have taken the Lulu last. Could be in the Ultra Prime in a position where they can't really combat it. They are going to take the Tahm Kench now for Ultra Prime. It's kind of really your jungle and your support. Now, Volley Bear is a common one that we've seen with the Ryze, because obviously as a duo, you can lean to the side lanes incredibly effectively. There's plenty of junglers open and available that can lean towards. I don't think there are really too many bad answers. They're going to go for Lee Sin. Does sync well with the Ryze if you have that point and click setup. And ShiauC's considering his engage options. They're a little bit further away from the meta, right? Alistar and Rel both provide that hard engage, but aren't seen nearly as much as Leona and Nautilus.
I'm surprised we didn't get the J4 for Hacker. It is one of his most played, but it just feels like it fits this composition so well in the terms of following up that AoE damage that can be there and setting up the fish in a barrel type situation. They go with the Alistar, which I feel like would have made the J4 fitting more, but I'm just going to walk away from that point because it will be Hacker's Lee Sin, which is terrifying in its own right as well.
Yeah, we're going to see what BiuBiu takes top lane. Aurelia is definitely something that can punish range tops, but I feel like puts such an emphasis on playing around it. Not sure it's necessarily what WE want to do here. Could just go for something like a Sion and have that beefy front line. It would mean that in the front to backs, WE hold up pretty well, right? Such a strong front line here that can soak so much damage. It makes it hard for L to get resets when you have to cut through the Xin Zhao and the Sion. But I look at Ultra Prime, right? They have great engage tools between the Kennen and the Alistar. And actually, I love when you have AoE CC against a Tahm Kench. Single target, things like Nautilus really struggle. Just for the fact that obviously you ult the AD carry out of the CC and you're fine. But obviously if Alistar combos in, there's a brief window where he can't eat his AD carry. On top of that, you can even headbutt. You know, like when you mess up a combo and you headbutt someone away and then you pulverize, you can do that on purpose. And you can headbutt the Tahm Kench away and then pulverize AD carry. So plenty of options there. Doesn't mean they're not going to have too much pressure level 1, but I think that's fine. Ultimately, WE play it safe. They go for this, again, front to back composition with a very strong front line. They have less power on the back line this time, but more bulkiness going forwards. But I really like what Ultra Prime have here. I like the Ryze for Cryin. I like the Jinx for Elk. I want to see this mid jungle take over the game. That is what I'm looking for. You're against a Corki. You know he's not going to do anything early. Make things happen.
And again, on the other side for Team WE, it's the Beishang Kedaya combo, especially now Kedaya on the Tahm Kench is ultra spicy. It fits his playstyle so well, and especially some of that safety added in there going up against the composition of Ultra Prime. Both teams pulling away a little bit of their comforts, a little bit of their specialties here in terms of their focus in the game, but it all comes down to execution. It all comes down to mechanics. Can Ultra Prime bring us to 3 games tonight? Oh, I hope so. As we hit the rip for the second time of the day, Ultra Prime versus Team WE.
If anything crazy comes on the level 1, what we often see, something that's developed quite a bit, is this late invade where red side will push in, get a ward over the wall on that red buff. We used to see it a lot earlier. They just put a ward at Raptors, but often it's a later one, and there's not really too much that blue side can do to defend in this situation other than stack up. And you'll see here this hasn't really happened, so I expect Kedaya maybe just to move forward and slam a wall down. But now they are just playing like this defensive cover game.
The opposite side potentially being for both of these teams, at least going into this one, because we saw the opposite side starts last time around for both junglers, but it was actually Beishang who went for that early invade into the top side, getting away that red buff. See if that same proactivity is the name of the game for Beishang this time. But last game, that is what I wanted to see from Hacker, the proactivity. Now you have the Lee Sin. You have that single tool to get yourself into the game.
Yeah, but he is going to be tracked, right? They know they have this ward. Actually, this clear out really effective. So now, I said he was going to be tracked. He's not going to be tracked, right? They don't have any vision on either jungler at this point. What I would like to see from Cryin is, because he's going to have the early priority, is move over and put a ward down on the Raptors so they have some information. Both these junglers, very effective gankers. You want to be able to see where they are going, where they are going to end up on the map, because both of them with leaks to start, you can predict, but you don't truly have that information.
Exactly, that makes it even more fun. It's like a bag of surprises here at the LPL when we get the jungler's first attentions, but it is all about those first attentions, and especially even Beishang getting the Zhao this time around. A lot different of a kind of utility style than we had seen, and especially, you know, the Sejuani last game, not necessarily working into the synergy that we had set up for themselves, but this time again, as I kind of said with Hacker, you have that tool available to you to be your own carry to some extent. Well, Beishang on the other side does have a lot of the utility there that Hacker had last game in Sejuani.
And I think the big thing for me on the side of WE is to set up in lanes, right? You know, Sion can set things up post 6. Pre 6 it's a little bit tricky unless Aliez is overextended. But mid lane, no real setup. Bot lane, you know, you have to kind of be trolling to let the Tahm Kench W underneath you when you have flash available. Whereas on the other side, Ultra Prime, every lane has CC to set up. So I think it's a much easier for Hacker to find angles, find opportunities for gank. So Beishang, if you can track Hacker, see where he is, know where he's going, and prevent his pressure, it's going to go a long way for your team.
Yeah, absolutely is. We see Trade going back and forth there, especially Stay and Kedaya keeping up the pressure in bot lane, or at least trying to do so with this Tahm Kench Aphelios combo. Cryin has priority in mid lane. Beishang wants to pay him a visit, having done his blue and red buff, having the Tanner there trying to get on the other side. Hacker down towards this bottom side scuttle. We have the 2v2 kicking off here. ShiauC gets stopped up by the Gravitum, now getting damage traded back on him because of the Calibrum. About halfway down in his health bar. Beishang got that. Okay.
Yeah, Hacker. So Hacker had no smite available. He'd used 2 smites in his clear. And then as a result, wasn't able to clear the shield. And that's the thing with Lee Sin, you can't clear the shield without smite. And it, like, if you smite and then Sonic Wave and then recast, you just kill it instantly.
This is so big brain.
Not able to do it.
They got the Abyssal dive in here as well. ShiauC gets out with the flash. Beishang's lane gank not going to succeed. ShiauC going back in after the exhaust completes. Elk putting in some damage to the Catfish. Hacker's here too. He joins the fight. Sonic Wave will miss.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I like the play coming off from WE. You get the flash from the Alistar. You still have Hex Flash. There's still opportunity to set up plays with that. But a nice route coming out from Stay into the Abyssal Voyage from Kedaya. And Beishang said, right, he knows Ultra Prime like to focus bot lane. So he's making that early presence known. He's making that early gank, giving a minor advantage over his side. And Cryin is approaching level 6. That's kind of the point where I feel like Ultra Prime really can start applying a lot of pressure on this one. When that Ryze gets the Realm Warp, you start to threaten, lean to the side, and really look to punish.
Absolutely, and that's something we didn't get in game one because both TF and Ryze were banned away. So Cryin getting that pick this time around needs to make it work. He's getting worked on here by BeiSheng. Has the phase rush though to get some distance between them two.
The Ryze movement speed and the phase rush together is just so funny because he's become so fast.
Speed!
Actually get found by BeiSheng there.
Oh my god, the wind becomes lightning connection there. Yep, Kedaya and ShiauC here. I don't know, Hacker, if you wanted to be here. The 3-talent strike connects. The Abyssal Dive does not, though. See, Cryin now moving back in. You've got Aliez here as well. Not level 6. Doesn't have the Slicing Hailstorm. Needs to be a lot more careful here in his pathing as Kedaya is speedy little catfish. The rest of Ultra Prime right behind, though, as the backup is there. Both teams finding each other constantly in this early game. The proactivity is there, but blood is yet to be drawn.
So you got to be careful. He's on a ward, and I can just praise Kedaya for being here first, right? And Ultra Prime shouldn't have gone for those plays when they know there's a numbers advantage. ShiauC was still walking from base when Kedaya was there, and that's just the difference maker, right? Simple numbers, 3 beats 2 in most scenarios, and Ultra Prime overstay, being a couple of summoners, and looks like WE still trying to apply pressure, right? ShiauC was trying to help Cryin get a crash so he can reset. For now, it looks like WE will force in aggressively on the enemy jungle.
Kedaya is just constantly pressuring on this top Kench. He feels like a different beast on this pick here, getting let through from that second game draft, and he's still pressuring up. It is Kedaya, it is BeiSheng, the combo that we want to see. Abyssal Dive flashed away from. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught into the tower, the double knock up there, as well as the combo. The rockets are raided again. We're getting deja vu here. Team WE are chasing down Ultra Prime. They're in between two towers, but does it matter? No, it does not. A stay helps get the team off the ground. 2 kills already for Team WE.
And this is actually a really proactive heads-up play coming out from WE. We typically see top laners not having too much impact in the lane, right? The TP, you can't use it behind them. BiuBiu just drops it on the tower and charges in to follow up. And the numbers advantage is enough to make the dive work. Elk misses so much of that wave there.
What a play from the side of Team WE. We'll see that startup here. But again, this has been Kedaya and BeiSheng walking from the top side of the map all the way to the bottom side, and BiuBiu pulling the trigger on the engage.
And what's massive is that Cryin, look at him, half health, no mana. This Realm Warp is useless, right? Absolutely useless. And the fact that they've been here, it's quite a long cooldown in the early game. So their main proactive tool we were looking for at level 6 from Cryin is unavailable, right? The main thing we were hoping to get out of Ultra Prime was proactive moves around Ryze. That has failed, at least for the time being, and it just gives WE such an advantage. In fact, you make a successful play and you burn that massive cooldown. Big positive. They're looking towards the Herald over here. Kedaya is already there, and Kedaya has been a lot better than ShiauC so far this game in terms of being where he needs to be on the map. Although it looks like the call for Ultra Prime might be to go for a cross map play. You can see Cryin has pushed the wave in. They may threaten to dive and a stay. He has no summoners, so I want to see them look to capitalize on this heavily. Get some plates for Elk, since you're not going to be able to get the Herald.
Still, though, I have to say, Kedaya on every roam timer finding something is so incredible. Now we're getting the blue side scuffle, at least between WE and Ultra
actually
Prime.
grabs that.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, he used the headbutt to dash out on the blue buff and ends up just taking it. Now the thing is, right, as much as the cross map from Ultra Prime makes sense, right? Enemy team has package, you just lost a play, let's not contest them. The problem is because ShiauC had package and because WE very quickly knew that Ultra Prime weren't contesting, they can then just lean back towards bot side. BeiSheng still gets the Herald, but they can't go for a dive or anything. They can't really threaten. They got 2 plates bot lane, nice, but the Herald can often translate to more.
Yeah, and you get the first drag of this game for Ultra Prime. At least they pull away a little bit of a neutral objective, but as you were kind of saying, the trade definitely goes in favor of Team WE just yet. But we'll see if Ultra Prime can capitalize on the bottom side. Abyssal Dive coming out, but they found the double knock up on a stay. Stay tries to pop the Moonlight Vigil, but he just burns to a crisp, and ShiauC gets the kill. He's got the blue buff, he's got the kill.
Everything.
He's got everything, man.
You could even see they were leaving it for Elk to take, so a bit unfortunate that it ends up going over to the Alistar there. But again, happy to see proactivity. This is what we're looking for. This is what we wanted from Ultra Prime. More of that, please. More of the same. And critically on a window where Kedaya was level 5. When that ult does become available, is a fair bit more challenging to pull those plays off.
And it's been so interesting that we had all those kills, all that craziness in the first game, and I feel like it's rightfully so. We get a little bit more reserved going into the second game, but this is so interesting, the way that this has played out and the way that we've seen so many face-to-face meetings between these two teams, but we're still only 3 kills in.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, not too much actually capitalized. My big question. Oh my god.
He popped the scanner afterwards. No, if he didn't pop the scanner afterwards, it would have been fine. It would have been a play he was doing. But
I still would have called suspect on that one. But
oh man, that feels so bad. But hey, at least
and
the
only
charge
he
off.
gets the gold as
But
well.
that's it. It was all the plan. All right, Aux Beisheng is in it for himself, but ShiauC is in it for his team. He goes for the engagement of Kedaya. Kedaya goes back in. Double knockup from the Abyssal Dive and a fried catfish on the menu for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, I think Kedaya wishing he could ult himself and just disappear from that play, because overcommitted quite heavily. You are not that tanky right now in this game. And the thing is, we talked about the trade-off earlier where WE got the Herald, Ultra Prime got the Dragon, and 2 plays bot. That is now actually a favorable play for Ultra Prime because they only got 2 plays from the Dragon. From the Herald, sorry.
Nice kick back. BiuBiu in some trouble. Slicing Maelstrom popped, and the Sion goes zombie mode. Hacker picks up the kill.
Yeah, positive things for Ultra Prime, right? Firstly, the Herald was badly utilized. Secondly, they get this gank off on the top lane, equalized in terms of gold. Now, I am a little bit concerned about bot under a lot of pressure, and Beisheng will look for a dive if he can find an opportunity here. And this Ryze, this is my big talking point, right? Cryin. Think about all we talked about with him on RNG, that roaming play style. Take a look at what's coming down on the mini-map. This is ShiauC moving first.
Is the Corki showing up here. This is a 4v2. ShiauC just headbutting Beisheng away. Nice Realm Warp will bring Cryin into the fight and actually turn in some damage onto Kedaya himself. Phase Rush pop Mega Death Rocket utilized as well. Been seeing a lot of early Mega Death Rockets as well from the Jinxes in the LPL, but it does dissuade Team WE from diving.
Yeah, it dissuades them. Definitely nice, but you don't pick Realm Warp to dissuade the enemy team. You pick Realm Warp to make proactive plays, right? It's the fact that WE moved down bot and set this play up, set the dive up. Cryin has to use his Realm Warp. And this is the second Realm Warp, by the way. Neither of them have gained any advantages for Ultra Prime. First one was a complete flop, but they actually lost out. This one just stopped WE. You don't pick these globals as like just a defensive tool. You want to be able to use them proactively to get the ball rolling, especially when you're up against the likes of a Corki. Obviously scales exceptionally well. Really, the fact that she is moving first on these plays, a little bit underwhelming for Ultra Prime.
You know, with the lack of actual sustainable leads for both these squads, right? We're neck and neck, still 13 minutes in. I would expect to see a little bit more priority around the team fights, around these objectives, right? Because teams are going to be saying, oh, we got to get something on the Rift, right? And we got to get something going for us as we press into the mid-game. And we do see Hacker down towards his bottom side, about a minute till that next dragon spawns, would start that stacking up for Ultra Prime, something I feel like they're going to need here.
Yeah, I mean, if Ultra Prime get the first 2 dragons, it relieves a lot of pressure, because we talked about this a lot back last game. Third dragon is when Corki will typically have package synced up with it, right? Because you normally, the first one is for the 8-minute Herald. Second one, this was actually a little bit early for that second Herald, but is synced up with the dragon. But the third one is like, that is the point where it's guaranteed every dragon there will be a package, and it becomes so hard to contest. So we saw last game, it was WE who had the 2 early dragons, and then there was no way for Ultra Prime to stop a very quick soul. Here, if Ultra Prime already have 1 dragon, if they can get a second, even better. Just means they have a lot more wiggle room, and also if they do start winning dragon fights, a position to capitalize.
And something else I want to check into is this jungle matchup that we were highlighting at the beginning of the day, and a lot of this entire series so far. But it's the different approaches that both of these guys will have going into the fights, right? Beisheng wants to get in there, get the Crescent Guard in, separate the fight, get the rest of Team W to pick off the stragglers from Ultra Prime. Hacker is one of the engage tools, maybe the main engage tool for Ultra Prime, and he's also going to try to steal this dragon away. The package used, Hacker in, but it's taken by ShiauC. Here comes the TPs, the fight ensues. Hacker already down. He made the mistake, and Team WE capitalized.
And honestly, I feel like I don't understand the TP coming in from the Kennen, right? In this situation, that was not a fight for Ultra Prime. That was a steal attempt. Pick one, right? You either pick the fight or you pick the steal attempt, but you shouldn't have burned the TP if you're trying to go for the steal. And now WE translating that pressure mid.
Just have the slicing Maelstrom for Aliez as he gets into the mid lane. The outer tower falls just in time for Team WE, though.
Yeah, positive play, right? It means you can push mid up deeper, harder for Cryin to apply that pressure outwards. We talk a lot about the impact of taking that mid tier 1. Definitely solid, despite the fact that it's even in kills. WE pulling ahead, have the advantage in terms of towers on the map. On top of that, look at ShiauC on this Corki, 2-0-1 already. It's going to be an absolute monster in this game. And that's the thing, I feel like WE, their composition isn't that complicated to play. It's just a front to back, right? Really strong front line, you can still get some damage. Ultra Prime is where it gets a bit tricky. You're looking at Kennen flank angles. You're looking at finding these big engages. They are on the Herald right now.
ShiauC? Oh, I thought ShiauC was going to go for it. When you see 4 members group up like that, you want to go for the engage. The triple headbutt pulverize. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught in the back base. Shanks is already down. Hacker into the back line now. The kickback, beautiful on its stay. And this is the fight Ultra Prime wanted. This is how they want to take the fight. The Realm Warp coming through. And the knock up. There you go. It's 3 down. Maybe they get to Kedaya as well. Elk chasing him down under tower. The catfish is strong, but is it going to be strong enough? Elk, one more shot will do it. And that is huge for Ultra Prime, who resurged themselves back into this series.
4-0, and it comes off ShiauC on this Alistar. Beautiful engagement on 3-man. The Tahm Kench E comes out, but the Kennen is there to follow up, and they all dive in. WE, we talked about the front to back, how strong it was. Doesn't work if those beautiful engages are found by Ultra Prime. And they'll get that tier 2 mid and more.
They're going to snowball this. BiuBiu dies. Two-face Shanks is now going in. They need to be careful, but they have the TP coming in from ShiauC. Does not have the package, but has the damage. The rocket's coming in, but nobody can chase it down. Moonlight Vigil from Stay goes wide. They're still chasing it down, but this is a bit of an overextension. Heal pop by Elk, and Ultra Prime get out.
Yeah, just a heal burn there at the end to get them out, but everything felt like it missed. Cryin will pick up this tower on the bot side. Massive positive for Ultra Prime. Huge team fight that I can't wait to have a look at in the replay. And really, it came from ShiauC. Perfect positioning in that brush. And WE just didn't check it, right? That was the problem, as they approached without having any ward down. Kedaya should have walked forward and watered this brush before everyone moved in. Both the backliners get comboed. This great Kennen comes in. And stay here, save the Tahm Kench. But this kick from Hacker securing his fate.
Yeah, it's the multiple ways of maneuvering in these fights. The ShiauC startup and Hacker able to slam it in the alley-oop as well, and it's back to the Cryin Elk show. These 2 carries are what gets Ultra Prime off the ground, and they are very much off the ground at this point.
And honestly, the Kennen as well, 3-0-3. Really solid performance coming in from Aliez on this one, and he will be a massive part of the threat, right? One thing is WE's composition, their main carries are this Corki and this Aphelios. If you make one of them unable to play the game, if you kill a ShiauC or Stay in a later team fight, let's say Aliez trades his life for one of them, that can often be winning, just because there's only one other carry left to follow through on the fight.
So Aliez in some trouble. Unstoppable onslaught utilized, but he dodges out of it beautifully. You got 5 members down here. Slicing Maelstrom popped. You got 3 from Ultra Prime. Kedaya doesn't hit the Abyssal Dive. They still get the kill, but they got to be careful afterwards. Everything's still pretty much up for Team WE. Hacker makes it to the fight a little bit too late, but it's already Aliez down.
Aliez just going down. Okay. Big shutdown from the Kennen as well. All comes through, but not really going to be able to achieve much. It's still even in gold, right? Despite discrepancy in kills, and they are setting up for this dragon. Should look for a reset here for the Corki to get the package here, and that's where things get a little bit difficult, right? Because critically, Aliez doesn't have the slicing Maelstrom, right? No Kennen ultimate means you lose a lot of the team fighting power that we saw before. Luden's just picked up. Look at ShiauC's items. Luden's fully stacked man immune with the package. They're hex gains. They're getting in. Right?
We game in here. It's the Hex Rift onto the stage here, and it's beautifully utilized by WE to get into the space for this dragon. This is the second dragon game for either of these teams, but no response from Ultra Prime as Team WE too quick on the trigger pull.
You can't contest this without Kennen ultimate. It's just an instrumental part of your team fight. Nice block from Kedaya there as well, ensuring that there's no chance to steal. I don't know how intentional it was, but does ensure that they're not going to lose that dragon to anything untoward. So second secured for WE, definitely a positive, especially as the dragon fights get better and better for them as we go on with those packages syncing up. And Ultra Prime gonna trade on the opposite side though and pick up that tier 1, get themselves a tower lead, and they are up in gold. That's a big thing to take into account. You know, the early game was in favor of WE, but that big fight win gave Ultra Prime a pretty significant advantage.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's a lot about, you know, the tools available at the time. Whoa. Oh my God, Ultra Prime. Well, they have Slicing Maelstrom now, so that's a tool available for them. I was gonna say we're gonna be waiting for the 3-item spike from the ADCs. We're gonna be waiting a little while to get the scuffles going. Ultra Prime try to bait out Team WE with the early Baron start though. Not gonna go through with it.
This is something we often see by teams up against Corki, is they will be so aggressive around Baron because they know, right, every drag, like Baron isn't a sort of time thing, right? Dragon spawns, teams fight, one team takes it. Baron is like, you have to find the opportunity to be able to do it, and as a result, Corki package won't be synced with it. Corki package is synced with the dragon. So by forcing Barons very aggressively, you find windows where WE aren't at full strength, where they don't have that massive team fighting tool. And so as much as nothing really came from that, it was quickly scoped out, they backed away. I like the Ultra Prime has shown they sort of understand that. That's one of the limitations of the Corki, is that you are kind of, a big chunk of your power is tied to that package. Yeah,
and Ultra Prime knowing that, trying to play with their win conditions a little bit, and especially around that top side pressure. Something that we saw Team W utilize a lot last game was the map movement, was the quick macro decision. I feel like Ultra Prime has definitely put themselves in a better position in this game comparatively to DC. Ultra Prime right back to it, right back around the Baron pit, because they know they have this pressure in top side they can utilize.
Pushing the lane deep where someone has to answer. Now, trying to aggress in, but they are once again starting up the Baron, so really set on making a fight up the back of this. They will get spotted out, so they back away.
Unstoppable onslaught. He's gonna walk into it here. He uses the unstoppable onslaught away though. Unstoppable stops the headbutt pulverize combo from ShiauC, but now that is a big tool. Utilize that, won't be there for the engage, and BiuBiu won't be that big train running into the fight. Kedaya just finished backing as well. ShiauC has to use the Valkyrie away. Luckily, Ultra Prime not taking that moment to burn down the Baron, and the Hex Gate will bring Kedaya right back to the fight.
That's one thing to be said, right, is doing a Baron against a Corki, package or not, that poke is scary. You see how much else just got chunked out there. They will have to back away and reset on the back of this. 2 minutes until that next dragon, and I feel like the Baron attempt, the pressure there cannot be nullified. WE doing a good job. Keep eyes on it, because that's the thing, is that 20-minute Baron, a lot of teams might not expect that, might have just lost it there. So credit to them for keeping things sharp, but now we'll clear out the vision in the area. And I think at this point, this is just going to be teams resetting and starting to move towards that dragon area. Baron probably not going to be on the cards.
How many times do we just get this setup around the Baron over and over again? I was about to say, do we get it for the 3rd time in a row? Just the back and forth. Let's get my vision. No, okay, it's my turn to clear out the vision. And just, you know, playing a little bit of keep away in front of the Baron pit. But as you kind of mentioned, about 1:30 until the next dragon. Again, sole point for Team WE. Ultra Prime using this time, though, to move into the top side, as they've done time and time again.
Yeah, playing very aggressive here. Isn't on the side of the map of the dragon. We're going to steal away this red buff. And I think one of the things that they can threaten WE, if they sweep out all of this vision, it becomes very difficult for WE to commit to the bot side of the map. But there is that one ward placed by Kedaya critically that still spots them. So now WE are pushing up mid. It's a minute before the dragon. ShiauC can reset in just a second to pick up the package. Probably will go for it soon. And they are looking, look how tanky that Sion is already, by the way.
It's a bit terrifying. BiuBiu.
And what I really like is something we've been seeing more of, is this bloodthirst second on the Aphelios, especially with the Severum, like red-white. Look how big that shield is. It's so hard to kill him easily. If you're a single backline threat diving like the Kennen, you just don't have the damage to burst through his shield and that quickly.
Can I just say that, like, the team fight for Team W is so set right now. You got the package, you have red-white for stay, you just have that 2nd item completed as well. You're getting to that 3rd item for ShiauC, and this fight's gonna be tough for Ultra Prime.
Absolutely is. I want to see what the Kennen can do. Aliez on this pick. If we can get in the backline, can make a big difference, but so many safety tools. Remember, WE, look, the front to back. Backline hits, frontline soaks damage. Ultra Prime need to be a bit more creative. Find the angles of approach. Watch the Corki poke and see what can be done.
Everfrost utilized by Cryin. They won't have that to lock down any members. You had Aliez on the flank, but he's just rejoining the fight here. Ultra Prime, no, they need to get in here. The Hex Tech on the side. Aliez wants the flank. The slicing maelstrom over the side. The 3 knockdown, but it's not enough. The Crescent Guard from BiuBiu is huge to separate the fight. And Team WE realize they don't need to go into this one, and they give up the dragon to Ultra Prime.
Yeah, that was enough. Even though they didn't manage to find the kills, the threat of that Kennen, the fact that it just forced them to all disengage. Look at the Summoner's Beard as well. Flash from Corki, Aphelios, and Tahm Kench there. You cannot toy around with Kennen ults like that. And remember, he was exhausted as well, but so threatening in that situation. I love this engage from ShiauC, right? Looks to punish the Corki for the bit of hubris you have from the package, but it's this Kennen Hex Gate behind. GA gets jumped on, all of WE are grouped, and then the flash over the wall, and yeah, he ends up getting exhausted here. He gets Crescent guarded away, he doesn't get any kills, but the threat of that Kennen, so real for WE.
Yep, and that's the team fight execution you need. You just got to make sure those ultimates are available, and you can get into position to press that R button. But
that's what you need. Just get a 5-man Kennen ult every time. That's it.
No problem. It's easy said and easy done. But it is, in all actuality, something that can't harm them as well, and something that Team WE has taken advantage of in this game specifically. When that slicing maelstrom is down, Team WE are filled with confidence.
Yeah, and the flash as well, not being available for the Kennen, does make a big difference. Obviously, it's kind of a trade-off because Aliez doesn't have his flash, but Stay and Kedaya and GA also don't have theirs, so it's like kind of a little bit more even. But honestly, I think the Kennen flash is more important because one, there's Tahm Kench on the side of WE, but also like often the Kennen can flash, get on top of them, stun them. Doesn't give them much of a window to even flash away sometimes.
I want to check in though. We are on 3 items for a decent chunk of these carries, right? We have our 3-item completed for Aliez, 4 as well, Elk 2 on Ultra Prime. So their item spikes are coming online here.
Yeah, and at this point, honestly, Elk should start being able to shred through BiuBiu, right? BiuBiu obviously scales exceptionally well in the later stages. There will come a point where very hard to cut down, just because you'll get so many more items. Because right now there's an item disparity. So much gold is put in the AD carry. The low DOMs is a massive factor. So I think this is probably the best opportunity for this Jinx to look to shred through the tanky Sion.
We're getting a lot of Ultra Prime presence in mid lane. Unstoppable Onslaught is not there for BiuBiu. You saw in the picture-in-picture it was utilized in a catch-out by Hacker. But Team WE definitely needs that to start off a lot of these fights. But again, on the other side, Aliez has Slicing Maelstrom available, and I feel like Team WE have their spider senses tingling.
Yeah, WE trying to play defensive around this Baron. BiuBiu playing on the edge of things sometimes with that ultimate, but managing to avoid getting caught out. And there's been a lot of back and forth in this area throughout this game, almost like a constant thing. It's 2,000 gold lead for Ultra Prime, even on Dragons. And that's the thing, is that Ultra Prime would love for things to happen in between the package timers, whereas WE, I think they're very content with just waiting for them, right? And why wouldn't you be? It's such a massive tool to play around. We can look at the items as well. 3 items for ShiauC completed, got that Ravenous Hydra. And you know, the Ravenous Hydra, the AoE damage from the item itself isn't super exceptional. It's the raw AD that scales so well with the Corki.
I was going to ask you actually, because I feel like that's something we're seeing that's a little bit new to the build itself here recently, and seeing that kind of come in these last couple days especially. Adds that AoE damage, but as you said, it's that raw AD that adds to the build itself and kind of spreads that damage a little bit.
Yeah, you sort of, with the Corki build, you tend to see an AD item, and sometimes it's a defensive one like Maw or even Death Dance to give resistances, but you need a high AD item because that's what he scales best with rather than AP. The AP items you get are the Magic Pen. Shadow Flame is a great option, but normally that's against squish your targets, and Ultra Prime are fairly bulky now. They kind of sense the Baron's going down. They will try and move over.
He doesn't have the Abyssal Dive to go over as well. Ultra Prime are still burning down the Baron. 5,000 health. TWE don't feel confident going in. Cryin is the wall here between them. Ultra Prime, get out with the Baron. Oh my goodness, Team WE, no confidence in that moment.
Yeah, so slow to approach, and I think they were so concerned about Aliez with the Kennen. Just very, very late to get over there and try and contest that. And it's the fact that it was just 2-man by the Jinx. Jinx now doing a really significant amount of damage. With that Phantom Dance as well. Phantom Dance and Kraken Slayer great at killing neutral objectives with all that attack speed. And now Dragon in 40 seconds. I still think WE can potentially fight this. Yes, they're down in gold, but they do have the package in hand. A big tool to play around here. If they can win the fight, get the Dragon, and wipe all the Baron buff, it would be excellent for WE.
Remember what happened last time, though. Gotta watch Aliez with those slicing maelstroms. The Hextech gates are still available for those flanks. Little early skirmishing happening in front of the Dragon Pit here, but Ultra Prime definitely feel in advantage as they have priority in mid lane because of the Baron buff, forcing Team WE out of this position.
WE struggling to approach. That's the main thing, is trying to work your way through. Yeah, you just can take this down so quickly. I don't think any contest really comes through from Ultra Prime, from WE, sorry. Now they're going to Realm War bot. Remember, they have the Baron buff. They will make this push a lot faster than WE, and WE are resetting. Will be a little bit late on this.
Package utilized there, but the towers are already burning down. They could just go for the inhib tower here so quickly. The rest of Team WE are running down here. Maybe this is where they can catch Ultra Prime overextending, but the inhib tower is already down. Quick movement for Ultra Prime is huge. BiuBiu taking a ton of damage. That's that Lord Dom doing work. Oh my God. That's the Jinx damage. That's Elk coming in clutch, and that's Ultra Prime moving into the base of Team WE. They're just going to snowball this to the game end. No way this is happening to Team WE right now. BiuBiu as a zombie doesn't do anything. One rocket from ShiauC does some work, but he's got TP to come back. Cryin and Aliez can just come back to this bottom lane. Looks like the decision from Ultra Prime is to back away, but Elk survives with the flash-based chunk with a quick trigger pull. Can't get it.
And they can keep looking, though. Elk is too low to fight in this situation. It's kind of a now or never situation.
ShiauC in some trouble here. Cryin with some damage back. Mega Death Rocket for Elk. This is the signal of the end. This is Ultra Prime coming in. Slicing Maelstrom from Aliez. Doesn't do much, but it gets Kedaya at least. And you know, Fish ain't a fan of electricity there. And this is Ultra Prime bringing us all the way. The resurgence from this team. The change up in the draft priority. It all comes up big. It all comes up clutch for Ultra Prime, who push us to game number 3, tying up this series.
And honestly, just great team fight execution from Ultra Prime. The Jinx for Elk makes such a difference. And the Baron calls, right? Not waiting for the Dragons where Corki would have that package available. They committed heavily onto the Barons, and it paid off pretty spectacularly. Elk, we talked about him at the start of the day, how instrumental he is in those late game team fights. Absolutely delivering in this one.